Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Week 3 NFL cheat sheets, updated rankings, full injury report, prop plays, Underdog plays, DraftKings update, and a whole lot more. If you want to jump around, hit the time codes. You got a question about the rankings, you can access the list down in the description right now. It's completely updated. But if you have a personal question, drop that in the comment section after you smash the like and hit the subscribe button to Mayo Media Network, and I'll get back to you at least by Sunday afternoon, hopefully by Saturday evening. Whenever I see them pop up, I'll turn notifications on just for you if you got some questions to ask. All my rankings are up on 4for4.com right now. Let's get into the full injury report, starting at running back. Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks is out against the Saints. That moves Kenneth Walker up from number 19 in the running back rankings to number 5 in the running back rankings. Aaron Jones is out at least 4 games for the Minnesota Vikings. He's been placed on injured reserve. Jordan Mason now comes in at number 10. Expect him to be the biggest piece of DraftKings chalk on the board this week at running back at only $5,400. I like him a lot. I don't see how you couldn't like him against this crappy Bengals defense. The big game of the week has the Cowboys at the Bears. That is a 50 total in it. That's one that everyone is gravitating towards, and now DeAndre Swift has popped up on the injury report with a quad injury. I still have him at running back number 21. This is in the afternoon late set of games, so try to have something on board just in case we hear murmurings that he's not going to play. Listen, he's not a must start by any means, but anytime you can get a somewhat workhorse running back in a game total of 50, the highest one of the week, you're probably going to want to play that guy. I got him at number 21 in the rankings right now. You might get the rookie, you might get Roschon filling in. I don't have high hopes for really either of those guys, should anything happen, because I think that Swift is going to play. Even if he's not 100%, he's still the one that you would want in this circumstance. Kyle Juszczyk is leaning out with a concussion, so he's probably not going to go for the 49ers. Will Shipley is officially ruled out for the Eagles with his ribs problem, so we're going to see Tank Bigsby likely working as the backup for Saquon Barkley against the Rams. Austin Eckler is out for the season, as we found out last Thursday when you watch it. I have Bill Krosky-Merritt as running back number 26, Jeremy McNichols as running back number 41. I don't expect either of these guys to take a stranglehold of the receiving game work that came from Austin Eckler. They might get an uptick of a target or two over the course of the game. I would actually think it would be more McNichols over Krosky-Merritt, and hell, they might even use Chris Rodriguez in that role. What I think is going to happen is just more short passes to Deebo Samuel at the line of scrimmage. That is going to act as their safety valve version of what Austin Eckler could do for them. So over receptions on Deebo, looking pretty good. It's been looking pretty good through 2 weeks already. Jauan Jennings is a game time decision for the 49ers, although he is leaning in. This is much of what he did a week ago, and once he played, he was absolutely fine. So I have him at number 23 in the rankings, and I love his over-under of 47.5 receiving yards this week, because he's the guy. Doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, more on that in a second. Whether or not they play, they're going to throw to Jauan Jennings. I have him at 23, Ricky Bullets at number 26. Now, if Jennings can't go, you do have a Kendrick Bourne over Marcus Valdez-Scantling situation. I like Bourne regardless. I'm not going to start Bourne if all of a sudden that Jennings is out, but if you are in need of a desperate flyer, hell, even a first TD catch or something like that, Kendrick Bourne over Marcus Valdez-Scantling in that 49ers receiving core. Emeka Egbuka is dealing with a hip injury and a groin injury right now. He is questionable in a pretty bad matchup against the Jets anyway. Should he not go, is going to be a problem in this circumstance. I've already bumped him down to wide receiver number 21, assuming he's going to go, which I do think he is, but that's behind Tet McMillan, Devontae Adams, and Roma Dunze at this moment. I still have Mike Evans a little bit higher than him. I have him at number 16 in the rankings. Sterling Shepard comes in at number 67. I don't love Evans this week. It's just hard to bench Mike Evans at home, even though he might end. It's probably going to be a 50-50 split, honestly, of who Sauce takes between Evans and Egbuka if they're both on the field. But with the way that Egbuka has played through 2 weeks, you're going to have to start him if he's active. He's just been that good. Moving to Sunday Night Football, we were dealing with a situation where in the Chiefs receiving core, we might not know what's going on. Fortunately, that was basically cleared up for us on Saturday afternoon. Xavier Worthy is out for Sunday Night Football. Jalen Royals looks like he's going to be leaning in and make his NFL debut. I ranked him at number 69, which is very nice, of course, but you're probably not going to be playing Jalen Royals this week. For the other Chiefs wide receivers, I have Hollywood Brown ranked the highest at number 32. Obviously not a must start, but probably the best start of this bunch against the Giants. I have Tyquan Thornton at number 48. I still love Tyquan Thornton, especially with Worthy out over longest reception. It took him 3.5 quarters to get there last week, but he ended up getting there. If they're taking shots down the field at all, it's going to be with Tyquan Thornton. And then I have Juju at number 52, because who the hell wants to play Juju? Not me, but he's like okay for a few points if that's what you really need. Christian Kirk is going to be making his season debut and Texans debut coming off the hamstring injury, which kept him out the first 2 weeks. He's at wide receiver number 41. Josh Reynolds is leaning out for the New York Jets. Not that we care about any receiver on that team whose name is not Garrett Wilson. Even then, with Tyrod playing, it's probably actually better for him than Fields. He's going to soak up a ton of targets against the Buccaneers. Xavier Legette is questionable with the hamstring injury. You weren't playing him anyway. Hunter Renfrow makes a very deep start at flex or wide receiver 3. I know I'm in a 14-team PPR league, and I have to play Hunter Renfrow as my flex. I don't expect him to smash like he did a week ago, but something like 6 targets in this game would be good enough for me. I have him at wide receiver number 49. Noah Brown is out for the Commanders. That has Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey filling in that spot. I'd expect Lane over McCaffrey by probably a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 ratio in running routes for this Commanders offense, which is without Jaden Daniels and has Marcus Mariota starting at quarterback. Lane's receiving prop right now, although it is juiced up to minus 135, is only a catch and a half. I like the over on that. On Underdog, it's 1.5 as well with a little bit of juice. I like the higher on that. The issue would become is that with Mariota under center, they're going to try to run the ball as much as possible, or at least try to make the passing game easier for him. And they can accomplish that as 3.5-point favorites against the Raiders if they can continue to be out in front. Now, what if we live in a world where even though they got banged up on a short week and Geno looked like crap, he just plays a lot better this week? We're obviously going to have a healthier Brock Bowers this time around, that if the Raiders can jump out to a lead, Lane becomes a very sneaky play because he's just going to be on the field in a now pass-happy game script. You have to think the script is going to go that way if you bet on Lane to do anything in this matchup. Now, if it comes down to, if you, let's say, think that the Raiders can jump out to a lead, you could even alt up Jalen Lane's receptions like 3 or 4. Then all of a sudden you're getting 2-to-1, 5-to-1 on your money in that circumstance, because I do like Lane over McCaffrey based on everything that we've seen so far this season. He's at number 63 in the wide receiver rankings. Certainly not a must start by any means, but someone that you could turn to that actually has a path to scoring a bunch of fantasy points in week number 3. Moving to tight ends, Tucker Kraft is questionable with a knee injury. He's been designated as questionable despite not practicing at all. We should know about this in the morning, but if this happened in practice this week, there was murmurings about him going on injured reserve, because unless you have Trey McBride, you can't have nice things at tight end in 2025. Everyone has been getting banged up except for McBride somehow. He still can't score touchdowns. So I've moved Kraft from tight end 2 to tight end 9 because he might not play. They're big faves going against a tough D, and they might actually need Musgrave in that game for blocking purposes, because we know that the Browns defensive line is going to be attacking Jordan Love. I've moved Musgrave up to number 22. Now, if Kraft is out, I would move him to number 16. Just because Kraft is out, I don't think that Luke Musgrave is a must pick up and play type player. Tyler Warren is questionable with a toe injury. Practice limited on Thursday and Friday, but he should be good to go. He is tight end number 3 for the week. Evan Ingram is out for the Denver Broncos. That means Lucas Krull, the Conqueror, he will smash your head and eat it. And maybe he'll score a touchdown too. But that's really it, and that's a real off chance. Maybe first touchdown, anytime touchdown in the prop market. Would not touch this guy for fantasy, although his name rules at Lucas Krull. He's a Viking or something like that, or maybe some sort of ogre frog from a cartoon in the mid-90s. I don't know. Great name. Krull. Will Disley is out for the Chargers against the Broncos. On the other side of the ball, Tyler Conklin moves up to tight end number 24. Dallas Goedert is now tight end 6 for the week because he will be playing for the Philadelphia Eagles against the Los Angeles Rams. Isaiah Likely is questionable for Monday Night Football. I don't have him in my rankings right now. I would not wait it out to get Likely in there in the off chance that he plays. I guess maybe if you had Mark Andrews and that's your crappy starting tight end, you can pick up Likely and play him him if he ends up going. I would just avoid the situation altogether. Just go pick up like Juwan Jennings and you're going to be fine. George Kittle is still out 2 to 4 weeks, which means, speaking in tongs, and Luke Farrell, number 29, number 27 in the tight end rankings, you don't know who it's going to be. They're better TD, anytime touchdown type of bet if that's the way that you want to play it. I'm just avoiding all of these guys. It's Juwan Jennings, Ricky Bullets, and Christian McCaffrey from that offense. And yeah, like I said, first touchdown, anytime touchdown for Farrell or Tongs. Who knows which one it's going to be? Probably neither of them is the answer against the Cardinals. Although the Cardinals have no secondary at this point, and they're starting to become a funnel for tight ends. Jadavion Sanders actually cleaned up against them last week, albeit in a lot of garbage time, playing a lot of soft shell with Bryce Young being down 20 points most of the game that allowed him to be open. So maybe those guys, like I said, anytime touchdown is really the only market where I would play them, and then you're still just flipping coins and guessing on which one it's going to be. As I mentioned before, defensively, A.J. Tyrell out for the Falcons, Chase Young out for the Saints at the Seahawks, so their pass rush is going to be down. Dre Greenlaw is out for the Broncos, and as I mentioned, Arizona has no secondary. For over a century, Johnnie Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereux Go, Johnnie Walker introduces the Johnnie Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnniewalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. Let's move on to props and underdog plays for the week 3 slate. I got a big bonus for everyone. If you really want to get it, I've been showing off the SharpStack app for weeks now, and now there's a new special deal. You get a free 7 days, and you get 50% off the monthly plan at SharpStack, which you can find at 4for4.com/Mayo if you use code Mayo50. That only works for the monthly. If you want to get the annual or any of the other packages off, use code Mayo to get 25% off the annuals for all of those, which is the better deal. But if you just want to test the waters, you get that free 7 days and 50% off the first month, and it's all sports. So whether it be college football, WNBA, NHL is coming back, NBA is coming back, and obviously we're here to talk football. That's what I've been using it for. And bad week 1, great week 2. Plus, if you do get that 50% off discount of SharpStack, you get access to the Discord where Ryan Noonan puts out all of his tackle props, which have absolutely been cleaning up. So that's probably something you're going to want to do. Let's jump over to Underdog. I can show you some of the plays that I've been making right now. Code Mayo at Underdog will get you a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It'll get you a free pick this weekend, and they're offering up a 75% profit boost, and that's what I used for this. I made a 7-pick $50 entry. What's this end up paying? Probably something fun. Oh yeah, $2,300. Let's hope this wins. But I played different combinations of a lot of these guys, just players that I really like this week in conjunction with using the SharpStack tool to go through everything. So I have Bucky Irving higher than 68.5 rushing yards. He's going to clean up and eat against the Jets, who can't stop anyone. Then I have George Pickens, ditto for the Bears defense. Like, we're playing a big total here. This is not a high number. 54.5 receiving yards higher for George Pickens. We just pray these guys don't get hurt, and we're off to the races. I don't love Kenneth Walker, but it's going to be a smash spot here against the Saints. They're going to turn around and run as often as possible. Their offensive line is much better at run blocking than pass blocking, and there's no Charbonnet. 78.5. It's a good number. I have him projected right now for 93, so it was one of the biggest discrepancies I had, so I went for it. Jalen Hurts, 199.5 passing yards lower for him. The Rams have not allowed a completion over 30 yards so far this season. And we know that if this game goes to script, you're going to see like a 4-to-1 run-to-pass ratio for Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. They do not want to throw the ball. They do not want to throw the ball downfield. And this defense will limit them from doing that anyway. And I think they can win the game with just running the ball on the ground. So we'll take lower on him. He hasn't come close to this yet. Juwan Jennings, I mentioned him earlier. He is iffy to play. Now, if he doesn't play, he just gets taken off. You don't lose it. But if he does play, 47.5 is a great number for Juwan Jennings against the Cardinals with their no secondary going into this game. Doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. I'm fine with it. And Deebo Samuel, as I mentioned earlier, with Mariota even at quarterback, but no Austin Eckler, higher than 4.5 receptions with a 75% profit boost. What does that end up paying? That pays 46.6 to 1 if all 7 are correct. Now, there's different ways you can play it. I play different 3-person combos of this. You see Pickens, Jennings, Samuel. I also played this fun one as well. It's a same gamer from the Steelers and Patriots game. I took Jaylen Warren lower than 54.5 rushing yards, mainly because the Patriots' run defense has been really good through 2 games. So let's take them on the under. Travion Henderson just doesn't get the ball all that much. They want to use him in the passing game, so lower than 5.5 rushing attempts. You hope this isn't the game where they just establish him out of nowhere, and you hope it's the game where they continue with Ramondre. We got him higher than 40.5 rushing yards. So lower on Henderson, we just expect a heavy dose of Stevenson. Without Joey Porter, the Pittsburgh's run defense has just been awful. They've been gashed through 2 games. Kenneth Walker lit them up last week. Breece Hall lit them up in week 1. Ramondre Stevenson can light them up in week number 3 if he gets the ball and forces Henderson to be on the sidelines of the field, or at least do all his damage through the air, not the ground. I got a supercharge on this one, so it got actually up to 7.28 to 1, but $85 wins 600 on that one. I like to play some of these correlated, not necessarily like same game parlays, but that's basically what it is on Underdog. I hit a big one on Arizona and Carolina last week. If you can correlate some of the places together, that as long as they're not like 1v1, I want to correlate higher passing yards to higher receptions and receiving yards. If you just find some different ones to tackle, you can still get a pretty good payout for telling yourself a story about what happens in this game. I'm going to jump over to coolbet.com right now. You can see under the PME Weekly Boost exclusive tab, I have something that's very similar. And Coolbet is for people in Canada outside of Ontario. You can hit the description, get that deposit bonus, and be able to play some of these weekly boosts. Many of the ones I just talked about already. Bucky Irving, I've put them down a little bit just to try to make it a bit easier. And it's been boosted up to 5.25 to 1, plus 525. Bucky Irving, more than 65 rushing yards. Stevenson, higher than 40 rushing yards. Tet McMillan, 4 or more catches. Again, AJ Tyrell out. Love McMillan in this spot. And then George Pickens, 50-plus receiving yards is where you want to look in that game. So it's a little bit lower than some of their actual over-unders. So we lost a little bit on the juice there, but we made it all back up with the boost that they gave us. So go play that at coolbet.com right now. And I do want to show off that Sharp Stack app one more time and just see what's happening. Here on the Sharp Stack app, we can take a look at what some of the best plays are. You can see the under 201 passing yards for Jalen Hurts is the best value on the board. That's at Hard Rock right now. Again, you can always go over to the very left side of the screen. As you can see here, you get the prop screen, you get the odds screen that walks you through it, or you can just use the projections. You can let the calculations and the VIG do the work for you on what is EV and what's not, or you can just simply press on the projections button and just find out what these guys are actually projected for. We take a look at quarterbacks right now. We just scroll through all of the players and where the hell where is Jalen Hurts this week? You can see 190 passing yards is the median projection, which means he's just going to come under that 201 number so often that it's a really nice look if that's the route that you want to take. Kenneth Gainwell receiving yards on the over. As mentioned before, we expect Jaylen Warren. I like the Jaylen Warren under because it's just a lot of rushing yards against a good rushing defense. The under on Kenneth Gainwell in that spot is pretty good too, but you would just expect so many receiving yards to funnel to Warren that this might just be a catch for Gainwell. And if the Steelers realize that they can't get it going on early, then they might take that. That's at minus 130 right now at Fanatics, if that's the way that you want to go. And you can actually middle yourself too. If you use the arbitrage tab, what are the best ones? Oh, this one's actually really nice. Lamar Jackson passing completions for Monday Night Football, over 18.5 plus 125 at Fanatics right now, under 18.5 plus 108 at Novig, and it will give you your stake. If you want to bet $100, you can guarantee yourself $8 a profit. And then we just jack that up to $1,000, and it tells you what to bet on each side. $80 a profit coming your way. You also have some college football ones. I'm recording this on a Saturday, so you can see if that one hits or not. The receptions for Kenneth Gainwell is an interesting one as well. That is the second best NFL on the board. ESPN bet has over 2.5 receptions at plus 130. Under 2.5 receptions at Hard Rock at even money shows you what to bet on each side. You can lock yourself in $70 a profit without doing anything. If you really just want to grind, the arbitrage is the way to go if you have access at all of these books. Now, I understand that not everyone has access at all of these books, so that might not be the best way to go about it. But again, the Sharp Stack app, 50% off the monthly deal and 7 weeks free in order to try it out by going to 4for4.com right now and using code MAYO50. finally, let's move over to DraftKings. I'm going to be using the DFS optimizer for everything. There's also ownership generation, which we'll look at in a second for each of the positions. You can get all of these tools. I mean, if you get that Sharp Stack discount, you can get all the DFS tools as well. If you don't care about betting or props or spreads or anything like that, and you just want the DFS tools and access to all John Breslin's content, who's a top 10 DFS player in the world, you can go to 4for4.com/Mayo, get 25% off any of those levels, and check it out. This is what I've been using. I've been successful so far, both winning weeks, a slightly losing week in week 1, big winning week in week 2, up for the year in NFL, which, as anyone who has followed the show, is huge for me. John Tambo and I walked through all the lineups in Friday's show. If you subscribe to the Mayo Media newsletter, it's for free. You can do that down in the description right now. You can get just the hot links to all of that. Or if you're just on Mayo Media Network, it was Friday's show. You can go check it out. We spent a lot of time breaking down the Bears and Cowboys game and how to accurately stack that up and still be different for both small entry and large field GPPs. If we just go to the optimizer to see what it's spitting out right now, it's giving me no data. Perfect. There we go. Now it loaded up. The optimal lineup right now would be Caleb Williams with DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, Puka, Pollard, and Breece Hall at running back, McBride, Kamara, and the Raiders defense would be the highest projected out right now. We did go through some Caleb Williams builds, and I believe we took out DJ Moore and putting Colston Loveland at tight end, and then upgraded our running back spots to get away from this Pollard and Breece Hall situation. I'll show you why. When we take a look at who the best values of any position are for the week, it's probably going to be Marcus Mariota. It's Jordan Mason, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan, and Kenneth Walker are the 4 best values on the board, and we just spit out that optimal. None of those guys appeared in that lineup. Now, we get to the ownership projections in a second, that a lot of teams are just going to have 2 of these 3 guys in it. All 4 of these guys, then along with Jonathan Taylor, end up in the top 5 highest owned. Expect Mason to be pushing 30%, even higher in smaller field tournaments. McCaffrey and Bijan over 20, with Walker and Bucky up there as well. Walker gets to sneak himself in because of the price point. Obviously, Mason and Walker both got priced before Aaron Jones and Zach Charbonnet were ruled out. I still like Bucky Irving a ton against the Jets, just simply because I like that matchup a lot, and that seems to be a pretty good pivot opportunity when we go through it. If we want to take a look at where are we at here? Ownership projections, and they'll be populated on Sunday morning within the optimizer as well if you want to create some groups for yourself. There's also a tutorial video on the site of how to properly use that. We take a look at running back into week 3, and then we're going to sort by DraftKings price. You can see where the soft spot is if you got the guts for it. Saquon is basically going, I wouldn't say he's going to be half to 1/3 the ownership of all of the other running backs around him. He's going to be even lower than Josh Jacobs. Interestingly enough, the Cincinnati and Minnesota game is showing a bunch of ownership, but none for Chase Brown whatsoever. That if there's a way to get different in that game, or if you want someone to pair with Jordan Mason and just call it a day, you could take Chase Brown in that spot, or you could use Hawkinson and Brown, since everyone in the world is going to be using Jordan Mason. That's an interesting pivot. He's very expensive. I still prefer Bucky in that situation. The only other ways to really go here is Chuba Hubbard, relatively unknown. All these 6K guys, relatively unknown. Genty, Connors, James Conner. I understand that after the split with Benson last week. Kyron Williams, even Kamara's not pushing over 10% right now. Javante's going to get some love because he's a part of that game and he's pretty cheap. But then you go down Breece, ETN, Dobbins. You got Pollard and Walker sucking up a bunch of oxygen in that spot. Jalen Warren people are using. I don't quite understand that against the Patriots when you can just use Jordan Mason for $100 less. But that's about as low as I could go. But Barkley is just really shaping up as someone I'm going to try to work in as a pivot off of Bijan and McCaffrey and hope to get lucky in that scenario. It's not going to be every single one of my teams. I'm playing 2 higher stakes. I'm playing the 250 and 150 this week. I'll be using Saquon in at least one of those lines. Probably just one, and limit it there to 50% exposure for myself in that spot. When we go to wide receivers, obviously you're going to see a lot of the Dallas and the Bears guys go up because, as you saw, Javonte Williams is going to be owned but not too owned, and DeAndre Swift, he has the injury tag coming through anyway, but it's not a great situation to be in for DeAndre Swift. Although he comes in at low ownership, it's not a bad place to take a spot. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Puka, Rome, CeeDee Lamb, Jacoby Myers are looking like your top 5 right now in terms of ownership, with DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen. I wouldn't be playing Mike Evans, honestly, for the $6,600 price tag. Then you got Devontae, Justin Jefferson, Drake London is still up there. George Pickens not coming in as high as I would have expected. But when we take a look at the price points, where is the soft spot? Nico's a soft spot. Don't love that. Ladd makes way more sense to me. Brian Thomas Jr. makes more sense to me. I still can't really pull the trigger on A.J. Brown. Igbuka got the big price jump. I'm not going to him. Garrett Wilson makes sense to me as well. So like a Bucky Irving, Garrett Wilson type stack. As a skinny stack, you don't have to play the quarterbacks from that, or you could just pair up Garrett Wilson with Tyrod, who's only $4,700. It does seem like the majority, if you're going to save money at quarterback, are going to go to Marcus Mariota. That makes some sense to me, but you could go up to Tyrod for a little bit more, and maybe that's a better option. I like them both more than Carson Wentz. You can see Pickens is going to be higher than 5% once these get updated, but at $5,900, it's a pretty solid spot. I also really like Juwan Jennings, as I've mentioned a few times right now. Because of his questionable price tag, he's at $5,000. The questionable tag coming into the game, where he's a game time decision for the later games, you might have to late swap out of that. And that's something that John and Tambo and I really did hammer home on that show on Friday, is because so many of the higher total games are on the late afternoon slate. If you bust out early, you're going to have to get off that Dallas and Chicago game in the afternoon, and we went through different ways that you can do that with the money remaining if you want to. I would anticipate that Juwan Jennings is closer to this 6.5 than this 11.5, and where it's only $5,000, he is a target for me this week, more so than Ricky Bullets, more so than a lot of guys, more so than DJ Moore even. I like Rome Odunze more, but everyone likes Rome Odunze more. Pickens and Juwan Jennings from this 5K range, if your name isn't going to be Rome Odunze, or I guess Tate McMillan, who I do really like and is coming in probably, I wouldn't say severely under-owned, but this is a really nice spot for him in this game. We go to tight end. It's going to be Trey McBride and the rest of the cronies because everyone is hurt. Trey McBride right now coming in projected for up to 25% ownership. Warren, even though he has that toe injury, is right at 15%. Jake Ferguson and Brock Bowers right around that 10% level. Although you could get the bottom range, I would expect Bowers to be more towards his bottom range than Jake Ferguson just because of the game stack potential and price point. In fact, I would expect Brock Bowers to probably be 5%. Harold Fannon's up there. Hawkinson is still there. Then everyone's like 1 to 5%. Who knows where everyone's going to go? I still like Juwan Johnson. He's only $3,900. He's been a focal point of that offense in a game where they're 7-point dogs in Seattle that they're going to have to be throwing. He is the preferred target for Spencer Rattler in that game. And he's super cheap and no one's using him. He makes a lot of things work for some of your lineups if that's the route that you want to go to. Quarterback is interesting, because it's going to be Caleb Williams, which no one feels good about, but they love the price point, myself included. And it's the high total game. It's the cheap side, although it's only $300 less than Dak. So Caleb, Mariota, Prescott, and Herbert are coming in 1, 2, 3, but I think those three are going to be well above everyone else. You can pick your poison with any other way that you want to go this week. No one's really using Jalen Hurts, who is the best fantasy quarterback on this slate, although we like him under rushing yards. He might score 3 rushing touchdowns, and that could be good enough. You could even just play him by himself in that game because he's just you're not getting him for the passing. Maybe he throws a few short touchdowns. Fine, you can recoup that. Basically, if you're not using Barkley, using Hurts does make some sense, despite the fact that he is still pretty pricey. I don't hate Tyrod in this game as well, who might be like 3% owned. Just him versus Mariota, where Mariota might get up, although Mariota is $700 cheaper at $4,000. He's the minute quarterback. You see at upwards of 12, could be as low as 7, probably right around 12%. Tyrod's going to end up being like 2%, and that's a pretty good spot to be in. Mac Jones, another one. Everyone kind of used him last week. They're over Mac Jones now. If he gets a start, there's still a chance that Purdy could come out. That Tyrod, Garrett Wilson makes some sense to me. Only because when we take a look at the passing game numbers, the summation of the ownership, the Jets are dead last at 10%. That no one is stacking up the Jets in what could be a pretty good spot for them. Are they as good as they? I mean, they scored 30 plus on Pittsburgh in week 1. I doubt they're that team. I doubt they're as bad as they looked against the Bills last week either. And if we take a look at the Buccaneers, they can move the ball a little bit, but they're banged up defensively, and their defense wasn't all that great to begin with. Hell, you could even throw Breece Hall into that mix as well. I think Tyrod's going to dump the ball off to him. I don't think I have the guts to go that big on it, but Tampa really struggles against pass-catching running backs, and that could be a good spot for Breece Hall from Tyrod out of the backfield, that you can pick your poison a little bit that way. The Jets, Panthers, Bengals, thought that was very interesting because you could just pair up Jamar Chase with Jake Browning pretty easily and go on your way with Jordan Mason as a skinny stack on the other side. No one's really going that route. Titans and Patriots and Browns are all near the bottom as well. No one's really stacking up Packers because it's hard to really do that. Everyone is stacking up Bears and Cowboys. 46%, 39% summation of own. I bet you it even eclipses that going forward. The only other one where people are going are the Chargers because they like the cheapness of Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen. It's actually those two over Ladd McConkey in terms of ownership right now. So if you were to get different, it would be with Ladd. All of this information will be updated both on 4for4.com in my cheat sheet column and the free cheat sheet newsletter if you go subscribe to the Mayo Media Network newsletter, completely free, down in the description right now. You will get that sent directly to you. Let's jump back to the optimizer just for 1 second, just if I see if we can find some values. I still like Troy Franklin. I'm trying to think of who else I can really get to in this circumstance. Let's just take a look at wide receivers. There's like a soft spot wide receiver in terms of value we can go with. Odunze, Puka, Jennings, London, and Troy Franklin are the top 5 in terms of overall value versus their price versus their ceiling. Garrett Wilson is also up there as well, another player that people just were not going to. Tate McMillan makes an appearance too. I like Tate McMillan. I like Drake London, both two guys who rate out pretty highly in a game situation where no one's really using any Panthers, but Bijan is going to be the preferred target in the Atlanta game. If you just go London and Tet, you can get a little bit different in a game where maybe Atlanta's defense is for real without AJ Tyrell. At least I think the Tet is going to have some room to maneuver if he wants to. At tight end, when we're looking at values, there's not a lot of positive values, but as you can see, McBride, Warren, and then Juwan Johnson at 3,900 comes in at number 3. No one's really using him. He is a great spot. You saw everyone using Jackson Smith and Jigba. Everyone wants to use Kenneth Walker. If you need to get a Saint cheaply in that game to go with him, if you want that, Juwan Johnson's exactly where you need to be going in that circumstance. That is going to do it on the Pat Mayo Experience Weekend Edition. You got a question about anything, drop it down in the comment section. Code MAYO50 at 4for4.com. Get you a free week and a 50% off discount on the monthly membership for the Sharp Stack app. Please go check that out. Always subscribe to the newsletter. My rankings are down in the description. They're completely updated. The injury report will get updated again on Sunday morning if you go check back to both the newsletter and the column. Thanks so much for tuning in on the weekend. Share the show around. If you can, sub to the channel, smash the like, and I will see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!